PowerTown Wrestling has entered the wrestling action figure collectible market. Got 2 wrestlers from their first series here. I collect wrestlers from the Nintendo 64 wrestling video games. So Virtual Pro Wrestling 2, only released in Japan, featured Stan Hansen and Bruiser Brody here. We'll open these up, check out these figures, and compare them to all the other different brands of wrestling figures, see how they are. This will fit in my little Japan collection pretty nicely because these 2 guys were big in Japan, like they said. That's why we're in the Japanese wrestling video game. They do have really nice packaging with the back showing all the characters and all the stuff the wrestlers come with. And the doors here open up, you get like a bio on the wrestler here. You can kind of read Bruiser Brody's real quick as we go through. Some interesting pictures on the sides as they scroll through, and then a window showing the figure, coming with some sweet championship belt, PWF Tag Team Championship. Both of them together as champions, so I got Stan Hansen here with the other tag belt. And we can read through his bio too, with his pretty awesome pictures there, even showing him with Bruiser Brody as those tag team champions. These guys in the All Japan Pro Wrestling, which was a lot bigger back in the day, heavily featured in that video game. Of course, his window here showing him coming with his tag belt and some accessories we'll get to check out here. So great packaging. These things close really tight. There must be some kind of magnet inside the cardboard or something. You don't have to worry about wearing anything out if you're keeping it in the package. But you know what I do here? I open stuff up. That's what I do. So we'll open up Stan Hansen here, famous for the big lariat. Still a move people will use as a big finish even today. We got the cowbell, don't make me say the joke. We got the rope we can run the cowbell on, kind of famously coming out with that. Rope and cowbell. A very nicely textured hat for him. Pretty nice. PWF Tag Team belt. Not fully detailed, but quite a bit of color there, even that red edge. Some silver on that, but pretty solid gold as well. And it looks like this is like so adjustable, it'll be very easy to get on. Although these belts weren't worn by too many people, so these are probably going to be the only 2 figures you're going to have that know of this championship. Right, we got the figure itself wearing his chaps and vest. It's like a plastic instead of a cloth, but it's very soft, so that's not going to hinder really anything. Let me see, the elbow pad, pretty soft also. So we got the head, doesn't really go up and down, just kind of around. This torso piece, not a lot of turn to it, but it does kind of go up and down. A little bit at the waist, which can turn, of course. Not sure how hard I want to twist for that, but the shoulder ball. We got this twist here at the bicep, elbow, wrist, turning and pivot on the wrist. Gonna do a little bit of a leg split there, the gear off. Not the easiest, and I could see where these straps could break if you're not too careful. But there, kind of the skull and crossbones and the SH Stan Hansen, the chaps, and the vest. Continuing with the legs here. Looks like just the knee there and the boot ankle. Can't get too high on the leg there. We just got his black tights. Very stiff and new joints here. I guess we didn't even get a good close-up of the face, which actually looks pretty nice. Not sure what all reference they were able to get a hold of to make these faces. Pretty sweet. The hair has a lot of like texture and color mixed, so pretty solid likeness. The bodies are a little plain, but I mean, I don't know what else you would really do for them. The hat secure on there if you're going to have him in all his entrance gear. One alternate hand, which is his kind of Texas horns gesture here. Looks like we pull the hand and the knob is left there, which is a little different than a lot of other figures. Pop that up. Ooh, at least there's one extra hand. A pretty solid body and movement for kind of a first-time wrestling figure here. Not playable, if you're wondering. The hands and the feet kind of loosely plugged in. Definitely display pieces here with these figures. You can do some good poses, but if you were playing around, they would fall apart over and over. And they're pretty expensive, so I don't want to stretch the limitations too much on what some of the body parts can move like. Of course, he's going to look pretty sweet with all his gear on. He's got the hat, vest, chaps. You can even strap him up with the Tag Team Championship belt. That looks pretty nice. There are a little bit of lettering details here and there, and just on the shelf with this kind of shiny gold and everything, it's going to look pretty awesome. Kind of a lesser known title that way, so it's going to look cool on my kind of Japanese wrestling figure collection. Pretty sweet with the video game, the Virtual Pro 2, just hitting the big lariat, knocking people out. Fun to be him, even though it's a kind of a game it was more fun to be a lot of the Japanese wrestlers, but he was right there. He's made just for a good, you know, tag team opponent or just even singles heavyweight opponent. That game was super hard, so the AI would beat the crap out of you. He'd knock you out with that lariat. Great game for a challenge. We'll get Bruiser Brody opened up too. Taped at the ends with an extra kind of sandwich layer of plastic. Oh, look at that. He has his board weapon. Didn't see that in there. That's kind of a cool extra accessory I didn't know he had. His fuzzy vest, which is just kind of textured and just kind of has some paint, kind of make it look more in-depth. Of course, the other PWF Tag Team Championship. Got kind of an alternate hand with that kind of open hand gesture, but, you know, has all his finger tape and stuff. So, and he has his chain twirl around here. So it's just kind of an actual, you know, instead of a plastic chain, you just kind of have a metal, tinier chain for him. And I can tell he is massive. So he's going to have the same articulation, kind of same thick body, but we do have the cool fuzzy boots that you might kind of recognize from some of those Nintendo 64 games. Got his one kind of taped up kind of knee, that color, elbow pad, the taped fingers, very stiff joints. But then absolutely wild likeness, even just all that scarring on his forehead. Really good textured hair too. He's even got kind of tied in the back. A lot going on there. Awesome eyebrows and beard. Pretty nice. His is a little more cartoony maybe, but with all the facial hair and everything, especially this very Bruiser Brody like scar-headed look, it's going to be pretty clear who it is. Of course, he's another one that's going to look pretty awesome. He's got all his accessories like his piece of wood and the chain, and he's got the old fuzzy vest. You kind of get the hair up above the vest to make it look right. Which that's just going to make him look even bigger with the vest on. Same articulation points and same kind of swappable hand. Not sure if he's going to be able to move enough to do that gesture with his hand though. Where he kind of hold his hand out. I don't think we can get it over there the way this is. It's too wide of chest and we don't have like an extra articulation on the shoulder. So he's kind of not going to be able to do that famous gesture, but he'll be able to hold his accessories at least, kind of as like an entrance kind of thing. So they're going to look pretty awesome as like a tag team together. All their entrance gear, their tag belts. Or you can just kind of have them in ring gear if that's what you like. But what we need to do is compare them to some other wrestling figures here. So let's get serious on scale here. Just to start things off, here's a WWE Elite Andre the Giant. As you can see, they are massive and they're almost equal to Andre. So that's not really the case. I mean, these were big guys, but they're a little oversized because they say, you know, 6-inch scale for the WWE stuff. These are saying they're 7-inch scale. Inches aren't a scale. I mean, they're just saying like whatever the scale ratio is, you know, average height is that many inches. So kind of off on that way, but if that's something that bothers you, here's a Bam Bam Bigelow. That would be another big man that went to Japan, just like Vader here. So not horrible on the scale, but they are definitely bigger than they should be. So if exact scale is kind of something that bothers you, I wouldn't delve into this line. But these are figures I'm kind of displaying in my Japan collection, and they're just kind of pretty decent once you kind of get everything going together. I mean, they're just going to look cool as representations of the wrestlers. I'm not looking at my collection going like, must be to exact scale, but I don't want them way off in size, of course. Here we have like AEW, like a Chris Jericho, a Kenny Omega, just to kind of show they are a little shorter, which is good for them, but they'd probably be, well, they're not too bad really for size like that, because these would be bigger guys. It's just somebody super huge like, you know, Andre the Giant, they're equal to instead of tiny bit smaller than. But we kind of have some more modern Japan wrestlers here, Tanahashi and Okada. My Japan collection stretches quite a few years apart here. These are like decades apart, but I am hoping to get more like classic Japanese wrestlers if they would make from PowerTown, I don't know, or Super 7, which are these New Japan figures. Whoever's going to make, you know, maybe like a Misawa or Kobashi to go with these. Hopefully they're, you know, in the size ballpark as these big PowerTown guys. Let's put a WB Lex Luger by Bruiser Brody for no apparent reason. I just happened to grab that one to compare. Again, these belts are pretty nice that they come with the kind of vac metallicized, something even the Super 7 titles didn't come with. And it's a very Triple Crown style shape, so if they do more of these titles, you could almost kind of make yourself a Triple Crown if you kind of ignore the very tiny tag description on these, because these titles are amazing on these figures. But for the sizing, a little off, a little big. These are the bigger guys of the set. So I don't know if some of the other wrestlers in this PowerTown set are maybe a smaller, since they would hopefully be in scale with each other at least, and these would kind of be your giants with Bruiser Brody and Stan Hansen. But they fit with my Nintendo 64 video game collection where they're in that Virtual Pro Wrestling 2 game. That is awesome, but I definitely hope that there are some other wrestlers from that time period, kind of the bigger Japanese legends and stuff that would go with these guys. I just have to kind of sit back and hope somebody will make them. But these will fit in my collection as it is, since I have other big American wrestlers that went to Japan to kind of be bigger contenders there with Bam Bam, Vader, and stuff like that. So I open up all my wrestling figures here, kind of from 90s and back. Not too far back, although these are pretty far back for the most part. Maybe kind of the earliest end of my collection. For older wrestling and older other action figure stuff here, stay tuned right here, and hopefully I'll get to see you in the next video.